we're going to start with basketball anyways.
We're
going to start with basketball anyways. No, not Mo Bamba, because we got to talk about Bobby Portis first.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was announced 5 minutes ago that Bobby Portis declined his player option, which was to be expected. So if you're a Bucks fan and you're freaking out that Bobby Portis declined his player option, don't freak out. What that does is it opens up the possibility for a longer-term extension. So Bobby Portis will be 28 in February. And with him playing the last 2 seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks, that means they have his early bird rights, which means they can offer him a contract of up to 4 years, up to $49 million. They can offer him anything in between there. It has to be at least 2 years, and there are no options. So it has to be at least 2 years and a set amount of money, up to 4 years, $49 million. I've seen a rumor that they're looking at a 4-year, $40 million deal for Bobby Portis. I haven't seen that substantiated anywhere, but I did see a rumor I think it was from Hoops Hype, that reported that it seems destined that Bobby Portis is going to sign a 4-year, $40 million deal. But the Bucks do have the opportunity to match any offer up to $49 million. So ultimately, if somebody wants to try to lure Bobby Portis away from the Bucks, they're going to have to offer him at least $13 million per season.
I do not think that's going to happen. I'm very happy that Bobby Portis feels like he found a home here in Milwaukee. Him coming in, hopefully, we won't have to deal with Brooke having surgery this year. So from the get-go, we'll have our depth, our big man depth. We'll have Brooke. We'll have Giannis, obviously. Thanasis will be back. Pat Connaughton's already, came back. So this roster's already shaping up. I think the next step after Bobby Portis signs, I heard that it was 4-year 40. I don't know if you heard anything different. That's exactly what I heard is 4-year 40. Like you said, Bobby Marks came out and said that they can offer 49. So after that, we really just got to find a viable backup point guard, which I've heard we're interested in Derrick Rose. Now, when I think about that, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't know how to feel about that. What do you think?
So with the Derrick Rose thing, I've had this discussion with a few people. Ultimately, all it does getting Derrick Rose is create another need. So the Bucks can't trade George Hill and a second-round pick for Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is set to make a little over $14 million this year. So whatever salary the Bucks are sending out, they can only take 125% of that back in. So if the Bucks are going to bring in $14 million in salary, they have to send out around at least 11. Which means they would probably have to trade either Brook Lopez or George Hill and Grayson Allen. For me, neither of those trades make sense because all they do is create another need. Trading for him ultimately creates another hole you have to fill. So in that process, it just doesn't make sense to me. So it just doesn't make sense to trade for a backup point guard when it creates a need on your starting lineup.
The only way I see that happening is, and I know, just stick with me for a second, like Nwora, right? And I think Nwora is ready to take that step to play real minutes for the season and in the playoffs. You bring in Marjan, and then, you're going to have Chris back. You're going to have Drew back. And you're okay with bringing in a guy like Derrick Rose, who's another ball handler. That's the only way I see that happening is if they really, really feel like some guys are able to step up and they feel good about Chris's health for the entire season. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know why you get rid of Grayson right away. People are mad at Grayson just because of one playoff series, but they don't want to give him credit. They really cut him down. He did that against the Bulls. Look, it's still in the playoffs. It's still two games, where he took over. So for them to just be knocking him down, that's ridiculous to me. I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm going to answer Matt's questions and I'll get back to you. Matt, the free agency opens at 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. So it'll be 5 o'clock Central time. Not sure which one you're on in Indiana, but I think whether you're on Eastern or Central time. But that'll be tomorrow evening. Jake, back to your point about Grayson Allen. It's ultimately the sample size thing that we've discussed 1,000 times. Is that you're going to take the sample size of one 7-game series, weigh it against how he did at the end of the Bulls series. He was okay in games 1 and 2, but he was electric for 3, 4, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he played really well during the entire regular season, outside of the games that he was hurt. But that was, that happens. But like his entire body of work, the regular season, played really good. The awesome Jake and Just Tyler. Wow. All right. You know what, Taylor? I was going to give these to you, but I don't know if I want to anymore.
Hey.
Yeah, Brewers fan locks.
Thomas,
the guy
I was
fan locks gave me some extra ones to give away.
Who says that with Middleton, Grayson Allen, doesn't get different matchups and he goes crazy? You know what I'm saying? Against Boston, the defense is going to have to guard us differently with Middleton on the floor, and Grayson Allen might get some more open opportunities and might knock those down. I'm not saying he would or he wouldn't, but to have that out there as an option, I'm willing to bet on that.
It's a factor. Yeah, that's a factor.
I'm on Eastern.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold on to those fan locks until we get to talking about the Brewers because those are blue and yellow. So
that is a great point. Matt brought up a great point about Forbes.
Right, and that's Taylor said I love that.
Jeez, get a room.
Right. So he called you awesome, and he called me Just Tyler. So
I know, but he just told me he loved you.
I know he's trying to get back on my good side.
Trying to put it up, man.
All right. So before we get to the Brewers, I wanted to take some time to talk about basketball for a little bit. So this was ultimately brought on by me listening to a basketball book this week, and I took some really, really interesting things away from the book, and then some questions that I want to pose and some hypotheticals that I want to throw out. So the first thing was, this was said during the book. The book that I listened to is called How to Watch Basketball Like a Genius. Tyler, we spent the first 5 minutes of the show talking about Bobby Portis. So, we
He's
talked
coming
about
back,
Portis,
okay?
so
Just relax. Yep, he'll be coming back. Don't worry about it, Wilkins.
Yep. So the book's called How to Watch Basketball Like a Genius. One of the first things that I took away from it was he made the point that basketball is the only sport where rules are changed to benefit the spectator more than the players of the game.
Okay. That's interesting, actually, if you think about it. Probably true.
Mm-hmm. I'd say, the more that I think about it, all the other ones outside of some of the ones in baseball are made to increase scoring, but that benefits the players and then the spectators, whereas the rule changes made in the NBA, they're really beneficial to the spectators.
Smart.
Next thing that I want to bring up is you probably never played ball, quote unquote, as an argument when people are arguing on social media. Oh, I bet you never played ball, or you tell me you don't know basketball without telling me you don't know basketball, stuff like that. That is a social media argument. Doesn't make sense to me to begin with, because you don't have to be an expert at doing something to be able to understand how it works. Matt said Bobby was making coffee at Collectivo in Milwaukee recently. Didn't seem like he got ready to leave. I don't think he seems like a guy ready to leave either. Tyler, they got rid of some of those ticky-tack fouls. They got rid of a lot of the flailing, flopping, leg-kicking fouls, so they have gotten rid of a lot of that. They need to readdress flopping, in my opinion. They used to give technical fouls and fines for that, and they don't do that anymore. I think they should bring that back. But, so,
after watching
like I said,
Celtic,
the whole... Yeah, exactly. So the whole, quote-unquote, you've never played ball, or I bet you never played ball, using that as an argument against somebody in a debate is just dumb, in my opinion anyways. But I wanted to bring this up. I didn't know this until I listened to this book, but the inventor of the shot clock, his name was Danny Biasone. He was a bowling alley owner. Never played basketball. He owned a bowling alley, and then he eventually owned an ABA team.
Interesting stuff. Okay.
Invented the shot clock. Still around.
Shot clock was a great thing. Otherwise, people were just dribbling the timeout.
That's like when Jake and I talked a couple months ago about rule changes. Adding a shot clock to the NBA was one of Jake's, I think, because there was a game that ended 19-18. Because it was because of George Mikan. Teams would just dribble the ball around in the perimeter. They would hand it off to each other and dribble more, and you have like 3-4 minute possessions. So yeah, you'd have like 3 or 4 minute possessions, just basically trying to keep the ball away from George Mikan, and that was the name of the game back then.
Stupid. How boring would that be?
Yeah,
seriously.
So the shot clock changed that. And yeah, man, I agree. Like the you never played argument is such a dumb one because nobody that's in those arguments on Facebook is playing in the NBA.
Okay. 1 second. I'm going to reply to Tyler. Tyler, I don't want it to go back to how it was when we grew up. It was awesome back then, but I seriously love how fast-paced the game is now. Do I get mad at the inconsistent calls once in a while? Yes, I do. And you know one thing that I really hate about the refs is when a guy gets fouled, if he makes it, they don't call the foul, but if he misses it, they give him 2 free throws. That's one thing that needs to change. But actually, I just had a conversation today with my girlfriend who does not know anything about sports, but she comes to me today as we're watching the Brewers, and she goes, ever since I've been around you for the last couple of years, I'm really, really starting to love basketball. And this is a girl that when I moved in here, she was like, oh, you're watching basketball again? Oh, you're watching basketball again? It's like, for her to come around and say that, I'm like, yeah, it's because basketball is an easier sport for somebody to get into because it's so fast paced. There's always action going on. Whether the ball gets knocked out, it's going out of bounds. They're doing an inbounds play. They're setting screens. They're driving to the rim. They're shooting a 3. Like there's always something going on.
There's no stoppage in possessions either. It's back and forth, back and forth. It's not like football where there's stop after every play.
Yep.
Or baseball where there's a pitch every.
She cannot stand baseball. Cannot stand baseball. She's coming around. She's coming around. But football. Obviously, I told her she doesn't have a choice. Packers are my religion. But Pat, that's what I celebrate on Sundays. I don't celebrate God. I love you, God, but I celebrate Green Bay Packer football here. But basketball, for her to come out and say that was shocking to me, honestly. Basketball is a great sport, to get your girlfriend to get on board with. That's all I'm saying. And these rule changes in the last couple of years has really, really made it watchable, in my opinion. They're getting rid of the Harden stuff, and I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. So it's actually really crazy how much basketball has changed in the last even like 70 years. Because like the shot clock wasn't brought in until like the 50s or 60s. So basketball was invented in 1891. So it took almost 70 years for the shot clock to be invented, and now it's been about another 70 years since its implementation. So basketball, honestly, it's still dealing with a lot of rule changes, but they're always trying to make the game better. So one thing that I want to bring up, because it's been brought up before to the NBA, Adam Silver has said that they brought it up, is the Elam Ending. Do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
So the year that Kobe Bryant died and they did the 24 at the end of the game, where the first team to score 24 points at the end of the game, that was an Elam Ending. So back before intentional fouls were called, their teams would just foul for 24 seconds just to stop offenses from scoring. Not as bad as it is now. Like nowadays, it's not as bad as it was, because literally it would just be 24 seconds and you'd have 20 fouls called.
See,
because there was no penalty for it.
That would be stupid.
Right, and it made the last 4 minutes of games take forever. You think it takes a while now for the last 4 minutes of a close game. Imagine back then when they were just trying to get stops on possessions by fouling a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So it was proposed that for the last 4 minutes, the clock would be shut off, and the first team to 10% plus the winning team's score.
Okay.
So back then, the games were usually a lot lower scoring. So it would say it was a game where it was like 70-60. The final score would be 13.5 points, call it 14 points. So if the game is, say, 70-60, it would be the first team to 83. So you're not playing under a time limit anymore. You're playing to whoever gets to 83 points first. So it actually gives the team that's losing the opportunity to make a comeback without just running out of time. And so what the idea was there was to keep up the pace of the play for the last 4 minutes of the game.
Kind of keep it true. That makes sense.
Right. Now what it also does is it guarantees a game-winning shot every single game.
Now that's watchable. That's definitely watchable. I'll tell you that.
Tyler, they did that in the 2020 All-Star game. I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't remember if they're still doing it that way or not.
I think they did it last year too. Okay. They liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't either. So then the last thing that I wanted to bring up was Kirk Goldsberry wrote a book called Sprawl Ball, based on like the way that the NBA has gone about spacing. So what he proposed in that book was that the three-point line be moved forward and backwards every year based on the percentages of the previous season. So let's say this year it's at 25 feet and the league averages, say, 37%. So they move it back 6 inches. And then the next year they shoot at 36%. So they move it back 6 inches. And then up until they get to a point where the league average is down under 35%. And then they move it up 6 inches.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about that.
Make the game change with the players, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn, everybody be shooting Curry range. That's tough. It would definitely, I'll tell you what, it would bring the value of the mid-range back. That's definitely what that would do. Value of the mid-range.
I'm so glad you said mid-range too. Because in the same book, not in Sprawl Ball, in the How to Watch Basketball Like a Genius, he proposed that if they're going to add a 4-point line or a 4-point circle like the Big Three has, that they put it in the mid-range because that's the shot that nobody takes anymore.
See, Chris Middleton would destroy. Do you understand how good Chris Middleton would be?
So would DeMar DeRozan, but like, if you're continually moving the 3-point line back, basically teams set up their system to shoot dunks, layups, and threes.
Yep. That's
all they want to shoot.
Yeah. There it is.
What's up, Dan?
Now we can start the show.
Yeah. Now we're gonna start over. The last 18 minutes didn't count. But yeah, so that philosophy of dunks, layups, and threes actually dates back to the early 90s. It was a philosophy brought up by David Arsenault from Grinnell College. Now, the name Grinnell College might sound familiar because Jack Taylor from Grinnell College in 2012 scored 138 points in a game. Basically, he was a transfer. He was actually from UW-La Crosse. He transferred to Grinnell College in Iowa. He was playing like his second or third game with the team. Coach comes over to him and says, "Hey, Jack, you're going to score 100 points this game." He said, "I want you to shoot 15 shots in the first 10 minutes of the game. If you score 20 points, we'll do the same thing for the next 10 minutes." He ended up scoring 138 points in that game. They did a study on 3-point shots. For 3-point shots, their goal is their offensive philosophy was to get 33% of their misses offensive rebounds. And when they were shooting 3-point shots and they were missed and an offensive rebound was grabbed, they put the ball back out to the shooter because they found that within 2 to 3 seconds of missing a three, going back to the same shooter resulted in a 52% makes on the second try because the shooter knew what to correct from the shot they missed.
You want to know what that's called? That's called for $2 for $1, baby. $2 for $1. And that is the damn rules of basketball. I don't care where you play, what level you're on. If that guy misses, you get the rebound, he's going to be wide open, bro, because they're crashing.
Yep.
You give it right back to him. And that is going to be cash. That's just how it feels. because he's in rhythm already. And I 100% agree that he knows what to fix because he knows how it felt off his hand. He knows if it went long, if it went short. He didn't jump high enough. He's got that muscle memory in his head.
Or he's fading to one side or the other, backwards, forwards.
He knows.
52% if it's within 2 or 3 seconds.
Wow, that's crazy.
Basically, listening to the book, the guy said the coach Arsenal would look at the record books and basically be able to pick whichever record they wanted to break that night and be able to because of their philosophy of pace of play, wanting to get rebounds on 33% of their misses. Their other goal for their games, this is ridiculous, was to force 32 turnovers. That was their goal, was to force 32 turnovers. So they wanted the opposing team. This team went like 15 deep, by the way. Yep. Like they didn't have any, 5-star athletes. They went like 15 deep, so they were constantly like basically every dead ball, like 3 guys were subbing in. They wanted the opposing team to run up and down the floor 150 times a game.
Damn.
That was their goal, and to force 32 turnovers. So they wanted to drive up that pace of play, force a bunch of turnovers, get a bunch of offensive rebounds, score quickly on layups, dunks, and threes.
Imagine playing against that team, and within the first 10 minutes, you could guard 3 different humans. Imagine that. That messes with your mind. I could definitely see a bunch of turnovers from that.
Imagine playing against a system like that, something that's not used a whole lot in basketball, and being 10 minutes in and already down by 15 points, and a dude on the other team already has 30.
Oh, I'd be so
The final score of the game that he scored 138 points in.
Oh my god.
Dude, they were like trying to double team him later in the game. Like I ended up just watching all of the points that he scored in that game. It was like a 14-minute video. But I watched the whole thing. Like later in the games, they ended up trying to run like 2 dudes at him, and he was still hitting threes. So,
bro, if that guy
the final score,
2 girls attached to him the entire night at the bar, then they did it wrong. They did it wrong at that college. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think it's a Christian college, but still.
Hey, everybody sins, right?
Final score of that game was 179 to 104.
Oh.
The opposing coach actually, at the end of the game, like the coach was expecting the opposing coach to be pissed. He actually walked up to him and he's like, "That was awesome." That's what he said. The opposing coach said that to him.
Wow, that is incredible stuff.
That's a master class of basketball when you don't have. He retired in 2018. His son coaches the team now, actually.
I know, but the guy that scored the 138, man, that was 10 years ago. I'd still be talking about that today. That's the go-to story at all the barbecues. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. I scored more than Wilt.
I carry a folded-up piece of paper in my pocket that says 138 on
it. So did I. That was funny.
All right. Well, that's all the basketball discussion that I had.
That's good stuff. It's interesting. I definitely feel like 90% of basketball fans should read a book on how to watch basketball like a normal human being and not overreact to everything. That should be a book.
I feel like you and I should teach a course on how to use Google.
Oh God. All right.
We'll do it. God. Hold on. We're going back. We're going back to basketball because I had a fucking guy today. So this was on a post about the Bucks wanting to trade for Derrick Rose. He said George Hill in a second, and I'm like, you can't. Like the money doesn't match. He's like, well, add cash. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. He's like, yes, it does. He's like, or add Ibaka. I'm like, no, you can't just add cash. And Ibaka is a free agent. He's like, he has a player option. Like, no, he doesn't have a player option. He's like, he can just opt into it. I literally sent him screenshots from Hoops Hype and Spot Track showing that he's an unrestricted free agent. He's like, well, he can just accept his player option that he has. I'm like, he does not have a player option. All you got to do is Google it. You can find it.
You know, there's idiots everywhere. He said, "I'd rather." Yeah, that's what 90% of America does, Simon.
Oh,
man, I just thought of an idea. We should take a poll on what sport has those unreal. Is it football, basketball, or baseball? Like, what sport do you think?
it's not baseball. I feel like baseball is usually pretty good. Oh God,
I feel like it's basketball. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, football's pretty bad because
football.
we think it's bad because we talk to like Bears and Lions fans and they set unrealistic goals for their teams and they're mad that we win all the time. So their only comeback is like, "You're gonna lose in the playoffs." Yeah, and what are you gonna do? Win 4 games again? Congratulations! Don't talk to me. There's levels to this.
I saw a post today saying that the Packers were jealous of the Lions. And I'm like, jealous of what? Their draft position being higher every year?
Yeah. See my comment on there?
I didn't see it.
Did you see my comment on there, bro? I murdered
I didn't see it.
I said, yeah, we're jealous of a team that's lost 53 games in the last 5 years, while the Packers have lost 9 in the last 3. You're over 10 losses a year, and we haven't even lost that in 3 years. Yeah, we're jealous of you. But I got to tell you, I just got this update on my phone. First of all, James Harden declined his player option, which is crazy because he was going to make $47 million.
What?
Yeah. Well, I heard they're signing PJ Tucker, so they'll probably take a deal. And then the Hawks are trading to Nello Garnari and more first-round bursts for Deontay Murray. Lions are winning 9 games this year. Yup, I said it. Dan, I wasn't going to name drop you. Okay, so remember this is like 2 months ago now. I brought up somebody I talked to. I said the Lions are going to win 9 games. It was Dan. I was talking to Dan on a Saturday at work. Dude, there's no way they win 9 games. I don't see it. I see
a possibility. I was gonna say if I was gonna set a tough over under, I would set it at 6.5. I'd set it the same for the Bears.
Okay. I mean, really, honestly, the Bears and Lions are similar, so I 100% agree with you. There's no way I see Goff winning 9 games in Detroit. And people are like, Goff isn't that bad. Goff isn't that bad. He is that bad. I'm sorry. He's that bad. He's not good at all. I think the Lions are better. 7-10 for the Lions
the Bears?
this year. Nice year for them. And their fans are unrealistic. 100%. I could live with 7. I really could. 5.5 Bears, 6.5 Lions. They're gonna be fighting for last place. That's all I know, man. I mean, for people to be like, "Ooh, the Packers are gonna get 3rd place in the division." No, we're not. Absolutely not. Not with this defense. Our defense alone, with a decent quarterback, is winning 6 games. If we didn't have Rodgers, we're just as good as the Lions and the Bears. We have Aaron Rodgers. We're winning 10 games at least.
Yeah, we're going to do a record prediction probably in.
We're going to do this more.
August. We'll probably do record predictions. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll probably do a record prediction in August. And we're going to do it for the entire NFC North. But while Vikings are going to win probably 9 or 10. Packers are going to win more
Vikings
than that, though.
win 6. Matt, you got to be there on that episode, dude. I got to hear why you think Vikings are winning 6. I don't see it. They got a decent roster.
New coach. Yeah, I don't believe in their defense yet or their offensive line, but we're going to talk about the Packers on Friday night. So we're going to have a special Friday night show this week. During Packers season, we're going to be doing shows every Friday, but we're going to be doing one this week. Simon and Bryant are joining us for that. We're going to have a lot of discussion. It's not going to be a ton of super specific stuff. We're not going to get into like record predictions yet, just because like preseason hasn't even started. Like the rosters aren't even finalized. There's still going to be another free agency wave yet in the NFL. But we're going to talk about basically just the Packers themselves, some of the storylines going on with the team, some players we're excited for this year, and then just some things that people are generally talking about. We're going to talk it out. So that's going to be Friday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. That's when we're going to do our Friday night Packers shows. So yeah, definitely check us out on Friday night. We're going to be doing 2 shows a week for football season. So
bye, Matt. too bad you won't hear our good baseball talk. 'Cause I actually brought some good stats this week.
Oh, look at this guy. All right. Well, you ready to switch to baseball?
One, we both saw it at the same time. You texted it to me. Yeah, I'm ready, buddy. I'm ready. Do it.
All right, so let's start with the Brewers Cardinals game 3. Let's start with that one from last Wednesday.
All right. Well, Eric Lauer, I don't know I do know what's wrong with him, but I don't know why he's doing it. He's missing his spots with his changeup and his curveball, and he's hitting too much of the plate. And do that with a curveball in the pros. These guys are going to take it for a ride. And if they miss, you better thank the gods, the baseball gods, because they are not going to miss very often. That is how crazy their hand-eye coordination is. But he went 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, had 5 earned, 5 Ks, only had the 1 walk, but the 2 home runs. He said, "Go order your Wisco Fanatics shirt, people." Hey, that's what I like to see. Go order your Wisco Fanatics shirts, people. We're about to boom. That's all I'm going to say. We're about to boom. So talking about the home runs with Lauer, his first 10 starts, he gave up 8 home runs. The last 3 starts, not including the one today that just happened today against the Tampa Bay Rays, he's given up 8 homers. So right there telling me he's having command issues with his curveball and his slider and, shit like that. And his fastball, his miles per hour is down. He was up there around 95 consistently to start the year. Now he's back down to 91, 93 sometimes. He still is hitting 94, 95 occasionally, but a lot of times I see him hitting 92 and I'm like, you're not blowing by anybody. 92 is kind of normal. I went to the Timber Rattlers game. Everybody saw my post. My stepson got a ball on Friday, and they're throwing 92 down there. So they've been seeing it for years. Basically their entire lives. They're seeing it in college too. So 92 is nothing special. But besides that point, Lauer's been okay, other than giving up the home run ball, in my opinion. Milner came in. He pitched an inning, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 3 Ks. And this was the game that Kelly came in, and he had the smoke, man. He had 2 innings. 5 of his 6 outs he had were strikeouts. He was giving us. We weren't able to get the run, to win the game, but it was a very, very good outing for him, man. He looked great in that outing, in my opinion. That was good for him to build some confidence. McCutchen and Tellez had homers also. More on Tellez later in the show, and McCutchen actually.
Oh, yeah. Rowdy Tellez in this game hit his first home run since May 29th. He'd gone 3 weeks without a home run. Yelich and McCutchen both had 2 hits, like Jake said. Trevor Kelly, it's good to see him do some scoreless things, especially in a 1-run game. For him to do that in a close game is a big deal. And this game also supplied us with the Wisco Fanatics play of the week, which was Luis Urias making a stabbing play kind of on a ball, bouncing in the hole between shortstop and third base, and then firing to Rowdy Tellez, who made a pick in the dirt to finish the playoff. So this game did also supply us with our Wisco Fanatics play of the week. But that's pretty much all I got. I'm going to talk about Lauer a little bit later.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about how crazy that play is for Tellez. Those in-between bounces are tough, man, because they can bounce to the side on you. They get on you fast, so you really got to have, and they said it on the broadcast, got to have nice soft hands and quick reaction to be able to nab that baby out of the air. So that was really, really a nice play by Tellez, I will say. I know we pick on him sometimes, but we're not meaning it seriously. We're ribbing him a little bit. Hopefully he'll be able to take
He's been pretty since he made that error that ended up losing them the game in the Mets series. Since then, he's been pretty good defensively, honestly.
I agree. And Luis Urias lately, dude, he's good. Like, the ball hard. He's playing defense. He had a really, really crazy catch today too, which I thought was going to be play of the week. I texted you, and then right away Davis comes up and has an even better play, and I thought he died because I was like, Jesus, he got crunched, dude. He just made himself 4 feet tall by running into that wall. But that was a crazy play. I mean, either one could be play of the week. We'll discuss that. But both of them have been great this week, in my opinion.
Christopher, we talked about Bobby at the top of the show. If you want to go back and watch it, otherwise, essentially, the quick highlight is that the Bucks can offer him 4 years and or anything from 2 to 4 years. So there's stuff to work there, and it's totally not something to panic about.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about Game 4 of that Cardinal series.
Why don't you lead it off? I feel like I talked.
All right, so you covered most of the bases on that one, pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
So this game started off kind of not so great. Down 2-0. Really, really ugly double error in the first inning that resulted in Goldschmidt getting a Little League home run. Christopher, I do always have the stats, always. It's one of the reasons we started the show, actually, was to share cool stats. It's one of the things we like to do.
Yeah.
So, ugly double error. Down 2-0 right away. Scored a run in the bottom of the first inning to get back in. Chichi Gonzalez gave up I think it was Chichi Gonzalez in that game. Pretty sure that was that game. Oh, no, that was Jason Alexander. So, yeah, Alexander. So, after the 2 runs in the first inning, followed that up with 3 scoreless innings. I feel bad for Jason Alexander. Like, he ended up getting the win, but okay, I digress. So, top of the 6th inning, Jason Alexander has second and third with only 1 out. He gets a sac fly. There's a walk, and then he strikes out. Or gets a guy to strike out to end the inning. That's big league stuff from Jason Alexander there. They got an insurance run in the bottom of the 8th. And then, let's see. Jason Alexander finished 5 2/3 innings. Did give up 4 earned runs, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts. Jason Alexander is never going to have high strikeout numbers unless Mercury is in Gatorade or something. Jason Alexander is going to be a ground ball guy. So Christian Yelich was on base 3 times. Victor Caratini was on 3 times. The Brewers had 15 base runners and only left 6 on base.
They're getting better at that. They're getting better.
They're getting better. Yeah, I'd like to see them keep getting better, but Tyrone Taylor hit a super high home run. Mercury. I knew somebody would like my Mercury and Gatorade comment. Willie Adames had another home run. Andrew McCutchen had a really nice catch on the warning track and 2 hits. Jonathan Davis was playing well in this game as well. We'll see what ends up happening with him from the injury that he sustained today. But that's pretty much everything I had from Game 4. I'll let you cover the back of the bullpen. I'll let you talk about that.
I mean, do I have to say anything about Boxberger, Williams, and Hader, dude? Seriously, what luxury is that those 3 guys come in? I feel that's almost a guarantee that we won the game. If we have a 1-run lead and Boxberger, Williams, Hader comes in, I'm like, Brewers fucking won. I mean, they like to really, really make you stress. Because they're like,
sweat it out.
Like today, Williams let 2 people get on, and it's just like, Devin, you are better than this. You are so much better than this. Hader lets a couple people get on. I'm like, Josh, last night you were destroying them. What happened? You're hitting 99.
It's a short turnover, so we will get to tomorrow.
I know.
Because we'll get to yesterday. We'll get to yesterday and then today because yesterday's game led me to say things about tomorrow, which is now today. So we'll get to the Rays series.
Today's and tomorrow's.
If everybody just followed what I said, if everybody followed along with what I said, kudos to you for following along with what I meant. If you understood what I meant, then good for you.
Well, I just, the one thing I wanted to say is that everyone except Yelich and Urias got a hit in this last game, so that's encouraging. Nothing bad about Yelich or Urias because they played really, really great. But it's encouraging that everybody else is starting to get on base and hit the baseball. They're hitting the ball hard, even if it is right at people. Like Willie Adames had one today that hit right at somebody. And the season series between the Cardinals and the Brewers is tied at 6-6. This shit is going to be awesome later in the year, man. That is going to be awesome. That's good baseball. that is nothing but good for Major League Baseball to have two teams from the Midwest, the Brewers and St. Louis, competing for each other, in their own division. That's going to be great to watch down the stretch. And we're getting into the dog days now, and I love saying that for some reason, the dog days of summer. That's just classic. That's all I got to say. I'm ready for the Blue Jays series, except for the first game because that sucked.
I just want to say real quick on the Cardinals too. Like you mentioned, it's going to be good down to the wire series season, and it's going to be a 2-team race. I do want to throw in real quick that the Pirates have a better record than the Cubs. I just want to throw that out there.
Cubs
but
lost to the Reds last night.
I want to throw out there. We talked about this. I don't remember if it was last week or the week before about enjoying the journey. So listen, the Brewers and the Cardinals are going to have a back and forth playoff race. It's probably going to come down to the last month of the year. That being said, it doesn't mean that we need to freak the F out about the Brewers losing here and there, or even if they go on a long losing streak like they did. Now they're on a winning streak and they're back to 11 games over 500. It's just got to be a thing where you just remain calm because, like I use the term all the time, the law of averages, that if things go bad for a while, based on what your team does, they're going to go good for a while. So it's going to be back and forth. It's a long season. Like Jake just said, the dog days of summer, it's a 162-game season. There's still a long way to go. Not even at the All-Star break yet.
Oh, yeah.
So enjoy the journey. It'll be fun.
We got a 4-game winning streak. We're going to play the Pirates.
Yeah.
That's a positive, if anybody wanted to know.
And this is something
to watch the shortstop for the Pirates. I'm excited to watch the shortstop for the Pirates. Man.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
So this is a thing where it's not just when the Brewers lose or if the Cardinals were to take first place back or something like that. The Brewers aren't automatically just bad, or it's not automatically the Brewers suck. Like, it's okay to give respect to the Cardinals too. The Cardinals are a good team. They have a lot of good players. So it's not like it's the Brewers division to lose. It's a legit 2-team race. Tim's cheering for the Marlins. That's who the Cardinals are playing.
I mean, the corner infielders for the Cardinals, that might be the best first baseman, third baseman combo in baseball. If you bring in defense and hitting ability, they're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, Arenado had a throw yesterday, dude. Just barehanded it, and it was just a rope. And I'm like, golly, man, this guy hits homers and throws ropes. He's a monster. And then Goldschmidt, he's the batting leader in the NL, I believe, still.
Yep. He's batting like 340.
Yeah, dude, he rakes. It's crazy. He rakes. That's it.
It's unfortunate, but the truth about those two is that those two have the highest OPS in Miller Park / American Family Field history.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
They're good players. That's all it is. They're good players.
It is what it is.
All right, let's go to Blue Jays game 1.
So, like I stated earlier, I went to the Timber Rattlers game with my stepson, brought him to his first game. He's able to get a foul ball. So my Friday night was actually good. I didn't have to stay home and watch the Brewers give up 9 runs and Hauser give up 5 in 6 innings, including 9 hits and 3 Ks. Kelly gave up 3 earned runs, so came off his high against the Cardinals and came back down to earth, gave up 3 runs in his 1 inning. Yeah, don't really need to talk anymore about pitching because they all gave up runs. But Yelich had 2 RBIs. Taylor got another RBI. Adames got his 37th RBI. Taylor with the home run. Outside of that was just one of those games. It was like, not our night. I was watching on my phone, and all of a sudden, Hauser the wheels just fell off in the 2nd inning, and I was like, what the and I turned it off.
He unfortunately got hurt by a bunch of hits up the middle. Like, it just felt like every hit was just right up the middle, just slowly roller right up the middle that nobody could get to. And it just snowballed on him.
Yeah. I don't have anything else in this game. It's just one of those throwaway games in the 162 to me.
Yeah. And when a game like that happens, you move on to the next day and you focus on winning the series.
Yep. Well,
So
it's nice that you can go from Hauser to Burns. I'll say that.
Yeah, that is nice. I do want to say so. It was the second, I shouldn't say the second. It's the second game we talked about. The fourth game of the Cardinals series, the Brewers had 15 base runners, only left 6 on base. The first game of the Blue Jays series, they had 13 base runners and left 8 on base.
Mm-hmm. See, that's backwards. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Right. So the Brewers had the leadoff man on base the first 3 innings. In the first 3 innings, they went double play, 2 strikeouts, following the leadoff man getting on base.
That's not it.
So
that's not how you.
That's a real bummer there. There were still some positive takeaways from this game. Christian Yelich was on base 4 times. He's playing very well in the leadoff spot. More on that later. Tyrone Taylor was on 3 times, hit back-to-back days of the home run. And this game also marks the return of Trevor Gott from the injured list. So that is definitely a boost.
Yes.
So
we
now
got
we can move
healthier
on
until we went on.
Yeah. Now we can move on to game 2 if you want.
All right. I'm not going to steal all the Corbin Burns because Tyler's just the kind of guy that just be like, yeah, I got a random stat. But Corbin Burns was really good. That's all I'm going to say. It was a little weird for me. It was awesome because I thought Burns was going to go 8 innings, but it was weird to watch Williams come in and only pitch a third of an inning. That was kind of awkward. But he's just dominant. That's all I'm going to say. Josh Hader came in, shut it down. Brewers ended up winning 5-4. But before we end this up, McCutchen, 2 RBIs. Taylor, another RBI, 3rd day in a row with an RBI for Tyrone Taylor, who's becoming a really, really big asset to this team. Adames, an RBI. 3rd day in a row for him, also with an RBI, 3rd game in a row. So these guys are getting hits when we need them. They're getting clutch hits. We're not leaving a bunch of people on base. Brousseau crushed a homer. That was a sight for sore eyes. That's all I'm going to say. McCutchen also had a homer in this game. But, just seeing Brousseau go up there and just crush a baseball, it was like, oh, man. It felt to me, at least, I don't know about everybody else, it felt like we needed that. It felt like we needed to get healthy, have these guys come back, and then make an impact right away. That was a really, really good thing to see.
Yeah. Brasso and then another guy you didn't actually mention is Victor Caratini. They've both given the Brewers some really good depth. I do have stats on both of them. Victor Caratini, so far this season with the Brewers, batting .247. He's on base 37.8% of the time and is slugging .433 and playing good defense. That .378 on base percentage is actually a career high for Victor Caratini.
Wow. Good stuff.
And then going over to dude, I have tons of stats.
I know you do.
Mike Brasso, so far this season with the Brewers, is batting .282, also on base .378, 37.8% of the time, and is slugging .465.
Wow. Not bad. I like it.
Very good numbers from those two. So Jake mentioned Corbin Burns. I think it's okay to officially declare him back after having a few struggling starts. He threw a 94-mile-an-hour cutter in this game that moved like a slider.
Yeah, that's not
fair. Legit
that's
looked like it moved like 10 to 12 inches on a pitch going 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, what are you doing with that?
That's got to be you taking it to a lab and studying it for its scientific implications. This is what you're doing with it.
Yeah. So, do you remember last year when they really started checking people for substances on the pitchers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch them now? How they check them?
Yeah, you get like a little hand massage.
Yeah, all they do is just go like this real quick. So he's not cheating, but the guy's just insane. That's all I'm gonna say. He's a monster.
I thought it was funny that people thought that he was cheating and that his stats were going to go down after they started checking for sticky stuff.
Right. I want to say to Tim, I do feel bad that Tim didn't get to watch Burns pitch, but you did go to a really, really fun game. That's all I'm gonna say. So you're fine, Tim, and you got Corbin Burns bobblehead, which I'm jealous of, and I hope Tim responds to that.
The first board all came with in that game, so that's encouraging to see that. Corbin Burns finished with 7 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. He could have tied Giovanni Gallardo for the most double-digit strikeout games in Brewers history with 1 more strikeout, but he finished with 9. Like I said, I think it's okay to officially declare Corbin Burns back. Luis Urias playing really good defense at second base, but the only thing I had in this game was the Brewers struck out 15 times. That is way too many strikeouts.
That's
the only bad thing I had to say about that game. 15 strikeouts is cut that in half.
Yeah, that's a lot. You could have scored a lot more runs if you don't strike out that much. Just put the ball in play, like we've said on here. You know, all you gotta do is just put the ball in play.
Put the ball in play. Yep. Force the issue. Put the ball in play. Force the issue.
Agreed. 100%.
All right, let's go to Game 3 of the Blue Jay series.
All right, so this is the first of the Rowdy Tellez shows this week. The craziest thing to me is that more people got RBIs in this game than pitchers we used, and we used 5 pitchers. So that's a good sign. That's all I'm going to say. Gonzalez, Gustave, Gott made his appearance. Suter and Kelly. Gonzalez gave up 3 earned runs after that. Absolutely nothing. That's very great to see. We only had 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. So that's good, and 6 hits. So you can live with those numbers from your pitching staff. You know, you're talking bullpen and starters. That's awesome. With hitters need to have productive outs. I agree. My dad's 100% spot on with that. Can't be striking out, especially with these batting averages. Put it in play.
I play the using the term productive outs is a very touch and go subject with me, just because I don't agree with sacrifice bunting in the first 8 innings of a game.
I mean, sac flies are okay. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, stuff like sac flies, or if you had to choose between, say a ground out that advances a runner versus a strikeout, like obviously I would prefer the ball be put in play.
Right. They actually talked to Counsell about bunting, and he said that he doesn't because it's doing it. So that's why you never see the Brewers bunt. And that, to me, that's okay. I'm okay with that, honestly. If you're going to go up there with a certain approach and it's working right now, and it's working against good teams. The Blue Jays and Rays are not pushover teams. It's not the Reds and Pirates, you know. These are good teams
Potentially
that
both
make the playoffs. Yeah, They make the playoffs. They compete against the Yankees and Red Sox of the world. They compete against all the other great AL teams. These are good teams.
Yep.
So they're going up there doing their job. Mccutchen is hitting like they thought he was going to hit. And Yelich is back to, getting on base. I'm not going to say he's back to MVP form because he's not crushing the homers like he is. But
I have a thought on Yelich.
High average. We'll wait on that, but in my opinion, he's great.
Yeah,
he's absolutely been great.
I saw somebody say it, and I agree with it, but I'll save that for later.
I am excited for your Yelich stats that you've been teasing me with for 2 days now. McCutchen,
what
Yelich,
your dad said now, I agree with wholeheartedly. Put the ball in play and make them make plays. That I agree with 100%.
Put them make plays. Look what happened to the Brewers. They look like a little league team against the Cardinals. They just threw the ball around the ballpark. Other teams can do that too, man, if you force the issue. And we've talked about that plenty of times.
Yep.
We have talked about that plenty of times. Better than strikeouts.
Yes, bunts are better than striking out, but you're not going to bunt with 2 strikes on you anyways.
Yeah, that's true. And man, they end up with 2 strikes on them all the time. This team really is going to give me a heart attack. But like I was saying, McCutchen, Yelich, Adames, Narvaez, all RBIs. Urias, Davis got his first RBI, and Tellez, obviously he had the 2 homers, which in his first 2 at bats. That's crazy. I mean, Rowdy, he had one today. I can't wait to talk about it. He absolutely crushed that thing. It almost went into another dimension. Absolutely crushed it.
I'm just going to real quick condense down everything Jake just said into one really easy statement. From that game, everybody in the lineup had a hit.
Yep, I have that written down.
I didn't mean to cut you off if you were going to say more, if you were going to get to that, but everybody in the lineup had a hit.
No. You're good. You go.
Okay. Jake mentioned the 2 home runs by Rowdy Tellez. The Brewers did manufacture 4 runs in the first 2 innings, so they did score runs in a variety of ways. I know that was something that was brought up in the comments last week. Yandel Gustave is back from the injured list. He got the win right away. And like Jake said, the Brewers used 5 pitchers. So Chichi Gonzalez went 4 innings, and the Brewers got 5 scoreless innings from Yandel Gustave, Brent Suter, Trevor Gott, and Trevor Kelly.
That's
5 scoreless innings from those 4. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's everything I had from that game. So we can move on to last night's tomorrow. Today is yesterday game.
Yeah. Oh man, my favorite part about yesterday's game. I mean, obviously having Woodruff back was absolutely necessary. But the 2-run homers with 2 outs on a Tuesday, that's the best part about yesterday's game. I don't know, the twos, all the T's, that's the best. Mccutchen, I didn't get home until the 6th inning in this game, so I didn't get to watch Woody pitch. I was stuck at work. But for him to go 5 innings, I did look up and I watched the replay. For him to go 5 innings and have 10 strikeouts on 76 pitches is absolutely unfair. That is absolutely unfair. Wait till this guy gets back. We have 2 horses. 2 horses.
Dude,
that's unfair.
So he came back from an injury. Yeah. Listen, this is insane. This is insane, Brandon Woodruff. So Brandon Woodruff's average fastball velocity this season is 96 miles an hour. He threw a shit ton of pitches last night that were 98 and 99. Craig Counsell called it his quote-unquote angry fastball. He said it's unhittable. That's insane that Woodruff's reaching back for 98, 99.
He said after he had his game against the T-Rats that he was ready to come back. And obviously he was not lying. The guy knows. He had 17 swing and misses yesterday, and 9 of his 10 strikeouts were on swing and misses. Come on, man. He's playing with him at that point. That's all I'm saying.
That is nasty. You mentioned the swing and misses. He had 13 of them on his fastball.
Yeah, dude.
Just absolute gas coming off of an injury.
God, who's the relief pitcher the Rays brought in yesterday? Forgot his name.
That is Matt Whistler. His stats for June were 10 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run. His stats last night, 0 outs, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 home runs.
Well, if you throw a goddamn slider at 84 and it's over the middle of the plate, what do you expect to happen, man? What do you expect to happen? Seriously.
He did it twice.
No, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to yak that thing. Mccutchen, he really tried. I don't even know if he tried to hit a homer, man. He just hit it hard, and it got some air under it. But Luis Urias' home run, that was a bomb.
Dude, I told you in the Brewers primer, I'm like, Luis Urias has sneaky power. He had the second most home runs on the Brewers last year. He hit 23 dingers last year. Like, it doesn't happen on accident.
He's getting hot right now. That's all I'm going to say. He's getting hot right now.
Dude, I said that last week, too, that Luis Urias is starting to hit the ball hard. That's what the Brewers want. They want you to hit the ball hard. The Brewers aren't super concerned about where the ball goes. They just want you to hit the ball hard. That's why they kept leaning on Yelich, because he's hitting the ball hard and on the barrel.
Yep.
That's what the Brewers want.
%, and it's starting to happen. Other than the 2 home runs and Woody's great outing, I thought that Josh Hader was absolutely phenomenal last night, just blowing the ball right past the Tampa Bay Rays. Obviously, it was their first time seeing him. We don't see the Rays too often, so it was their first time seeing Williams and
Haven't
Hader
since 2017.
Oh yeah, but so he absolutely destroyed them last night. They were a little bit better today, but he was still able to lock some shit down, man.
Mm-hmm. So another good positive takeaway from yesterday, Colton Wong is back. So the Brewers, like Jake said, the Brewers are getting healthy. They're getting closer to being fully healthy. And if the Brewers are playing, they dealt with when all the injuries really started to pile up, they dealt with that long losing streak. But since guys started to slowly filter back, the Brewers are really starting to play a lot better. Almost like injuries affect your team, almost.
Crazy.
I know, shocking, crazy hot take from me that injuries can affect your team, but that's where, like I said, I wanted to give credit to Victor Caratini and to Mike Brasso. Jace Peterson deserves a lot of credit because he's playing well in place of guys that are injured. Jason Alexander deserves credit. And speaking of Jason Alexander and credit, I just want to give myself some credit real quick for calling that Jason Alexander was going to end up in the bullpen. I said that 2 weeks ago, and it happened. Just smart guy.
Say the line. Say the line. Say the line.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
it's
man,
true,
I
though.
wanted you to say it so bad.
Just because I said it was gonna happen and it did happen, he struggled a little bit out of the pen. I will say Jason Alexander got freaking hosed by umpiring last night on the second batter that he faced, the one that he ended up walking. If my hand is the strike zone and a ball comes in here, like dead in the middle of the outside third of the plate, and it gets called a ball, like, what the hell? I posted the screenshot on the Wisco Fanatics Twitter page because that was just straight up garbage. And Jason Alexander ended up walking that batter. So he got a pretty raw deal. But, it'll work out better in the future. I saw people questioning why Jason Alexander was being brought in that position instead of Devin Williams because they were lining up next to each other. This is where tomorrow is yesterday is today. So the thing that I kept saying to people was it's a night game tonight. They play at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So it's a really short turnaround. Like it's not a 24-hour turnaround. It's more like a 12-hour turnaround from the end of Tuesday night's game to the beginning of Wednesday morning's game. So if they could, it wasn't even a save situation is the other thing. So the Brewers had a 4-run lead at that point. Not a save situation. You play a really early game tomorrow. That's where the Brewers were going with Jason Alexander instead of Devin Williams.
Yeah, that was honestly for his first outing. Obviously, he got hit around a little bit, gave up some runs, but give him some time. I think he could be, very useful in the bullpen. I will say that. I want to reply to Tim's comment here about him sliding. That looked so awkward. I was so worried that he was going to be hurt. I was like, oh, man, because he hit that hard, man. It wasn't like he just
bounced,
skipped over. Like he stopped completely. All his stopped from hitting that mound. It sucked. Did you hear Tim Dillard on did you watch the post game yesterday?
No, I did not.
Yes or no? I liked his comment on Luis Urias' home run. And, after that, he was like, oh, and Luis Urias goes yard, much like phone books. That's not coming back. I was like, oh, man, Tim Dillard is just one of those guys. If they need to put him on TV, because he would be great during the game. That's all I'm going to say. He'd be awesome. Hilarious. He's good, man, and he knows his shit. Tim Dillard is a smart guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a former player, like a lot of
friend of the show.
I shouldn't say,
friend of the, which is awesome to say.
That's true. Not always, but often former players make good analysis, good analysts. Some, not all. Personally, I'm not a fan of Kendrick Perkins. I think he says a lot of off-the-wall stuff, but that's neither here nor there.
Sure.
Dan Orlovsky was one of my bad sportscasters from 2 weeks ago when we did that bonus episode. But last night's game, I mean, Mccutchen is hot, super, super hot since he broke his slump. Luis Urias had a good game at the plate, like Jake said. Colton Wong is back. He was 1 for 3 with a walk, and he scored twice. I do want to throw out really quick, just to go back to the Toronto series, because I didn't say this. The Brewers outscored Toronto 19-16 in that series. So like Jake said, Toronto being a good team, a good playoff team, outscoring them 19-16 is a good feat. and obviously the series win. But
Mhm.
did you have anything else you wanted to say about Game 1 of that Rays series?
Nah, man, just a good old fashioned win. And they do not lose a lot of games at home in interleague play. So for the Brewers to win, not just today, but yesterday, and basically get a little mini sweep, that's massive, dude. And creating really, really great momentum for this baseball team heading into
I
Pittsburgh.
heard it in the post game on the radio today that the Rays have played like 7 consecutive 2-run games.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
baseball right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wow.
All right, let's go to today's game.
Today's game, man, I was really watching closely with Lauer. I really wanted him to have another dominant outing. I gave you the stat earlier about the home runs. At least he kept that down a little bit. He was hitting 95 a little bit more consistently today. He only went 4 1/3 though. Gave up 6 hits. The 3 runs were all on him. 2 walks, had 3 Ks as well. Gustave came in. Had a good outing. Milner looked 2/3 of an inning, and then we get to the 7, 8, 9 guys, and at that point you're basically just like, well, let's see if we can get a run across. And in this case, you need 2 runs. Which when you try to get a run across on these guys, you're like, okay, maybe it can happen. But when you're going to try to get 2 runs across on this back of this bullpen, to me that's almost as close to impossible as you get in the National League, let alone the major leagues, because this is as good as it gets. Boxberger, Williams, Hader. You go from Boxberger with that slide of fastball. You go to Williams with his fastball. He has 22 strikeouts on his fastball this year. And then on top of that, Tyler shared a stat of the week with Devin Williams, how it moves on an average of 18 inches. What are you going to do with that? And then you got Josh Hader, who's just giving you that slider in the dirt. You have no chance because you're anticipating that fastball up in the zone. You can't see the damn ball for half the damn time. He's holding on to it. And then it gets on you twice as fast. But, Peterson added the insurance in this game. Tellez had 2 homers again. And Luis Urias with another absolute monster. He took the first pitch right before his home run, and he kind of was looking at his hand. And you're like, what the heck? Is he okay? Especially with the injury history of the Brewers this year. And you're like, God damn it, Luis, don't you dare be hurt again. He goes up to the next pitch, and he just launches it 400 feet. And you're just like, oh, my God. What is this team? They're all getting hot. Tyler predicted that too. If you're going to buy a house and you want to know when to buy your house, just ask Tyler. He'll tell you. You're going to buy your house in August of 2023. Okay, well, Tyler said it, so it must be true. This guy just tells the future, I guess. You're like the Simpsons now.
Listen, so here's the thing. So like I said, during the losing streak, and, it's going to come back down at some point too. What I want to do is continue to offer perspective. So when the Brewers were down, they were losing, they lost 8 in a row. I simply posed the question to ask yourself, what if? Because the what if the Brewers all slump at the same time happened. It does happen. But you can ask yourself the same question, what if it happens in the exact opposite way and everybody gets hot at the same time? That's the season we're in right now. So there's constant ups and downs. There's a roller coaster of a season. Now, while it is very fun that the Brewers are all getting hot at the same time, like Willy Adames, Luis Urias, and Rowdy Tellez, and Christian Yelich, and Mike Brasso, and Jace Peterson, and Victor Caratini, and everybody's hitting really well and playing pretty solid defense outside of a few exchanges here and there. It's going to happen where guys start to slump a little bit. The thing is you can't hold guys to the standard of when they're playing at their best all the time and then criticize them when they're at their worst for not being the way that they are when they're at their best. That's why so many stats are boiled down to averages, because players will have games at their worst. They will have games at their best. Nobody's going to want to watch somebody who just plays their strictly average all the time, every game. It would be boring, honestly. The ups and downs are what give games excitement. It's what gives you the feeling, the impression of this guy's hitting really hot right now, or this guy's on a really good streak. If it was just average and everything was the same every time, the game would be boring.
Mm-hmm.
So the ups and downs are what give the season meaning. It's what makes the game fun when your team is doing well.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing, you just don't throw all your eggs out the window when it's not going well, and then when it starts to go well again, go outside and be like, oh, my eggs were broken. Like, that's a bad analogy, but like, you understand what I'm saying. Like, don't get so down when things aren't going great that you can't enjoy when they're going well, or that you think that they're tricking you when they're doing well. Like, there's always middle ground. Just stay in the gray area. Don't go so radical up or down.
I agree. I mean, you're going to have a week this week where Rowdy Tellez has 5 homers, right? And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, and then you look at his hits, and all of his hits are home runs. And it's like, people are going to be like, oh my God, he had 5 home runs. He's amazing. He's crazy. All of his hits, but they were big impact, And this leads right into my power pair. Rowdy Tellez was my hitter. We're going to start with hitters, I guess. He was 5 of 22. So he had 5 home runs, and they were all massive. I mean, you look at his 2 home runs in the Toronto series. Right away, for us to jump on them like that was kind of the kill shot right away. Today he hit a home run that put us ahead, and Peterson added on another one late in this game. But his home runs are having massive impacts. Now imagine if he has 2 people on base. Our runs are going to go at that point, so we start getting a little bit more walks. And if we just keep hitting the ball hard, those things will start to manifest themselves, But along with his 5 home runs, he had 4 runs scored, 8 RBIs, and 4 walks. So all in all, when you take things into totality, he hit the ball hard and he got on base a lot. So he's starting to see the ball better. He did talk after the game that he hates playing at Trop because he says he can't see the ball on a day that he hits 2 home runs. Honestly, I'm just going to say it. What an asshole. Dude, if I was a rapist, you can't see the ball, but you hit 2 home runs. And his second home run was a freaking, moonshot. I seriously thought that was going into another dimension. He hit the ball, and I said, uh-oh. I didn't see the ball for another 30 seconds. I'm like, where the hell did the ball go? And then it just falls.
It hit the catwalk, yeah. Yeah, Luis Urias did that too.
Yeah, he absolutely murdered that. That was crazy. Who's your power pair player, buddy?
Hold on, because I want to ask you something. Okay. Rowdy Tellez hit 5 home runs in the last week. There's 6 months in the year and 24 weeks in the season. So you mean to tell me that Rowdy Tellez is not going to hit 120 home runs this year?
Yep, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Not every time he gets a hit is going to be a home run. Sorry to break it to
do
you.
you see what I'm asking you here?
Yeah,
is that
the law of average. I mean, he was on a really cold streak, man. Wasn't getting any home runs.
If you take a sample size this big and try to apply it to an entire season, you can look really foolish doing so.
100%.
All right. I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm going to double dip on batters because the 2 guys that I wanted to bring up have both been playing really well for an extended period of time. So I'm going to bring up Andrew Mccutchen and Christian Yelich. So Andrew Mccutchen, since he broke his streak, he was 1 for 32, I think, with the walk-off that he hit against the Padres. Since then, that was June 2nd. Since then, he is batting .329. His OPS by month in April, 639. That's all right. It's okay. It's not great, not terrible. May, 501. That's rough. That's really rough. And then June, his OPS is 901.
That's better.
That's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's much better.
So, yeah, Andrew McCutchen is one. Second one is Christian Yelich. So, since June 8th, that's when he was slid into the leadoff position, which I also called because people kept wanting Yelich moved down, and I said, no, move him up. Christian Yelich is 26 for 81. That is a 321 batting average.
Yeah, he's raking right now.
Coming into today's game, that doesn't include today's game, his slashes were 316 for his batting average. Like I said, doesn't include today. 400 on base percentage. So he's getting on base 40% of the time as a leadoff batter. And slugging 418. So that's not great, but his power isn't really there. He has an 818 OPS, which is very solid. Now this is the thing that I wanted to mention because I did see somebody say this, and I agree with it very strongly, that while we are not getting 2018, 2019 Christian Yelich, we are getting Miami Marlins Christian Yelich. The Christian Yelich we traded for was a guy who just hit the ball hard a lot. He got on base. When he gets on base, he uses his speed, and he goes and steals bases, and he scores runs. And that's what Christian Yelich is doing as a leadoff hitter for the Brewers.
He's 12 for 12 stealing bases this year, man. Just going to throw that out there. 12 for 12.
Good.
So when he
can steal 30 if he wants.
Nothing wrong with being a guy that hits, say he gets his batting average up in the 280s, steals 30 bases like you just said. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, dude. He'll probably get around 15 home runs, which isn't crazy. But on a team with a Willie Adames, a Rowdy Tellez, a Hunter Renfroe, a Luis Urias,
Taylor,
McCutchen, Taylor, if they keep hitting, I mean, you're going to have guys that are going to hit 20 to 25 home runs, and you're going to fit in there with 15, steal some bases, and hit a high average. That's absolutely everything we need. All I'm going to say.
Yep. Yeah. And he still
perfectly.
Can hit the occasional home run, so I'm totally okay with that. Who is your power pair pitcher?
I couldn't go with anybody else. I saw the stat on Twitter literally as soon as you sent it to me, and I was like, man, what a stat, dude. Talking about Devin Williams. Devin Williams has been a freaking man amongst boys. And I'm talking the last 20 outings. I will get into that stat in a second. But just this last week, he had 2 1/3 inning pitch, 0 hits, 0 earned runs. Did have 3 walks. Obviously, none of them scored. I just told you that. And 5 Ks. Over the last 20 outings, 0 runs. People are batting .83. Not even 100 against this guy. And 30 Ks. 3-0. That is insane. This guy pitches 1 inning, 3 outs, and he has 30
sometimes
Ks in the
less.
last 20 outings. Holy shit. And he had two appearances this week where he had a third of an inning. So all I'm saying is all the people out there, and by the way, he's third in strikeouts per 9 in the entire MLB, not the NL. The entire MLB, he's third in strikeouts per 9. And people are out there saying that he doesn't deserve to be an all-star. That is absolutely hogwash. That's all I'm going to say. Hogwash.
Proud of you for censoring yourself on that. That was good. Good.
And now I slammed the notebook. Damn it.
So, yeah, I totally agree with you. If you saw the post that we put up on, I don't know if that was like Sunday, the Devin Williams hype train, we will be your conductors. Devin Williams is absolutely awesome. I did have somebody say that Devin Williams couldn't make the All-Star team because Josh Hader is going to make the All-Star team. And there's only 3 relievers in the NL, and 2 of them aren't going to be Brewers. I say, why not? I mean, the Brewers had 4 All-Star pitchers last year with Burns, Woodruff, Peralta, and Hader. So, like, totally could have 3 this year and have Burns, Hader, and Williams. So,
why not? I mean,
which brings me to mine. I went with good.
I'm just going to say, at some points during the season, Hader had a missed time, and we're able to just slide Williams into that closer role, and he just shuts shit down. And then when Hader comes back, we slide him back in the 8th, and he just holds the score where it is. Why not have him be an all-star? He's been one of the best relief pitchers in the baseball. That's all I'm going to say.
Remember that time we were 2 games into the season and Devin Williams gave up like 3 runs and people wanted to trade him?
Yeah, I do, which is really stupid. Yeah.
That is why looking at small sample sizes and overreacting to small sample sizes makes you look stupid. Stop doing it. Stop overreacting to small sample sizes. You only look fucking dumb every time. That's why I posted the graphic. Shortly after that, people freaking out about 1 inning of work compared to his other 97 innings of his entire body of work, flipping the hell out that his ERA was 9 after 2 damn games. Fuck. Dude, the small sample size thing drives me insane.
I think when people complain about that, they have small sample size in their pants. And that's all I'm going to say.
LDE. Up here.
Yeah, LDE up there too.
Yeah. All right, so my power pair pitcher is Corbin Burns. His last 2 outings that he had in the last week, 14 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, all came in 1 game, 4 walks, 19 strikeouts, which is insane. And his ERA is down 11 points. Now, where Corbin Burns stands in baseball as far as a pitcher is concerned, he leads the entire league, all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts with 119. He's first in the NL in strikeouts per 9 with 11.48. He's first in average against with 192 average against him. He is second in the NL in whip at .92. Second in the NL in hits per 9 at 6.27. Second in the NL in quality starts with 11. And he is third in the NL in ERA at 2.41 and strikeout to walk ratio at 5.67.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's decent.
If he continues at the trajectory that he's on, we could be looking at a potential back-to-back Cy Young winner.
Cy Burns, baby. I wanted you to call him Cy Burns.
Cy Burns.
Cy
yeah.
Burns. Cy Burns. Wait, does he pitch tomorrow, right?
He pitches, let's see, tomorrow will be, I think it's going to be Hauser. Who follows Lauer? Lauer would be Jason Alexander's spot.
It should be Hauser.
No, tomorrow
Yeah.
should be Hauser. Yeah, and then it'll be Burns.
And then
Thursday, Friday.
Ashby's getting close to coming back.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it might go Hauser, Burns, and they might slide in Ashby on Saturday.
That will be absolutely amazing if Ashby can come back.
They said Ashby threw a bullpen session yesterday, and that he said he felt good coming out of it. They said that he could be ready to make his next start in Pittsburgh. His next potential start lined up better with Jason Alexander's spot in the rotation, so take that for what it will. Not that Chichi Gonzalez is going to remain a starter, but that Aaron Ashby's slot would line up better with where Jason Alexander was pitching in the rotation. So, take that at face value, and maybe that means that Aaron Ashby is going to be pitching back when they're in Pittsburgh starting tomorrow.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Having him back, hopefully in July. I'm thinking maybe mid-July we can have some good news about Freddie Fastball. Be incredible if he could come back, like in August, like you projected. I say you're pretty good at projecting shit, so hopefully you're pretty good at that one too.
I said August on Freddie. Yeah, he started playing catch last week. I will say, if you want a pair of Brewers fan locks, I will give them to the first person that types "Go Pack Go" in the comments. Or "Go Pack Go." Go Brewers Go. Sorry. I have Packers ones here to give away on Friday, so I was looking at those when I said that. First person to type "Go Brewers Go" in the comments gets a set of Brewers fan locks.
Well, Taylor just typed a minute ago. Let's see if he's paying attention.
Yeah, Tim and Taylor are both on here. Christopher was on here not too long ago either.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
All right. Good thing I think I still have Taylor's address. If not, I have it in the message that we sent.
Tim must have walked away.
Yeah.
Got a McCutchen jersey, huh? I can't decide if I want Renfroe or Burns. That's who my final two are. Renfroe or Burns. I can't decide.
I want to throw out a Brandon Woodruff stat. Taylor said I'll slide my DMs. I'm pretty sure I still have your address from when I sent you the Parker Johns gift card, gift certificate. Brandon Woodruff.
Wink. Sorry, it's the wink.
Brandon Woodruff last night, his first turn through the rotation, the first 9 batters that he faced, 7 strikeouts. That tied a franchise record, actually.
Wow.
Strikeouts through the first 9 batters. So, Brewers going to brewer and do crazy pitching things because that's what they do. Brewers were, before today's game, up a half a game on the Cardinals. So now with the win today, they're up a full game on the Cardinals. Tim said earlier, go Marlins. That's who the Cubs or the Cardinals are playing this afternoon. Looking ahead a little bit on some things that the Brewers can do to improve. This is something I want to try to look at every week. Is one, Eric Lauer still giving up too many home runs. Jay kind of touched on it already that he's making mistakes with his off-speed stuff. That being said, his slider is his second best pitch. It's the changeup and the curveball that are getting him in trouble, like Jake said. Those 2 pitches, he basically, to potentially curtail giving up all those home runs, he just needs to keep those 2 pitches away from the middle of the strike zone. Basically, either throw them
catching a lot of play.
as close to the corners as you can or out of the zone completely.
Yeah, he was doing better, in my opinion, and I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy that sits in his basement and talks about sports. But in my opinion, he was doing better at hitting spots today. He's getting good with his a couple that were kind of but he's going to get back to it. This rotation is going to get healthier. Teams are going to have to go through, Burns and Woodruff now. You bring Ashley back. That's another arm that you got to worry about. So I look for Lauer to get back to the consistency he had in his first 10 starts of the season. And if you get back to that and we are lucky enough to get Freddie back, that's a dominant 5-man rotation to go along with this bullpen that has been absolutely phenomenal. I actually wrote down a stat from today's game that I forgot to mention, actually. Today they pitched 4 2/3 of an inning, gave 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 4 walks, and 6 Ks. So for your bullpen to come in for half the game and just absolutely lock shit down, wow, what a luxury. And then you just are going yard on every damn pitcher the Rays throw at you. So if the Brewers can hit for a little bit better average, this is a championship quality team if we can start getting on base a little bit more. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's what it is. So the Brewers need to do better hitting with runners on base. They left a lot of base runners out on the base paths the last couple weeks, or the last couple games, I mean. So it's really just like Jake's dad said in the comments, actually, that you just need to get on base, put the ball in play. Don't be afraid to shorten up the swing. Like, we know that the Brewers, like I've said, I don't know, half an hour ago, that the Brewers prioritize hitting the ball hard. The Brewers are good at hitting the ball hard. It does seem like a little too often guys take that a little too far to heart and are afraid to shorten up their swing and try to make some softer contact that goes at the opposite field. That's the kind of stuff that the Brewers need to do a little more often. Pulling the hands in, just going with what the pitcher is giving you, and not that I believe that the Brewers are swinging for the fences every time they're up to bat, but I could see why somebody would think that way because the Brewers have a low average but a shit ton of home runs.
Yeah. I could definitely see how they do that too. And I think coming into the day, they were like 8th in runs scored in the NL. So if they could just find a way to get on base with how they can hit home runs, the runs will just skyrocket, honestly.
Right. And that's something where I've seen a couple of complaints, not too many, about Craig Counsell tinkering with the lineup too much. So, like, I've seen Luis Urias batting anywhere from 6th to cleanup to 3rd. Willy Adames goes from 2nd to 4th to 3rd. Like, Rowdy Tellez is going from 3rd to 5th. honestly, Craig Counsell's probably going to continue doing that, trying to find the sweet spot for the guys that are getting on base and the guys that are hitting for power and trying to balance that out in the lineup constantly. That's especially dealing with all the injuries that the Brewers have too. That's a really tough balancing act for Craig Counsell. And for the Brewers to be winning games while he's tinkering with the lineup that way is actually still a very good thing. So I'm encouraged by that. The only other thing the Brewers are doing, this kind of can tie in with, like I said, shortening up the swing and going with what the pitcher gives you, is that the Brewers are still striking out too much. I touched on it last week that the Brewers don't chase a lot of pitches, but they also almost never swing at the first pitch. I'm not saying that they need to start swinging at the first pitch, but the Brewers had, as of last week, had the lowest first pitch swing percentage at about 25%. And yes, Yelich leading off is turning out to be a good idea. But if a team knows that they have a 1 in 4 chance of you swinging at the first pitch, that's a 3 out of 4 chance that you're not going to, they're going to throw you a strike, and then boom, you're down in the count already.
Yep.
So it's not something that the Brewers can skew in their favor and be like, oh, we're going to swing at the first pitch every time, and then teams are going to stop trying to get ahead of the count because that's still the goal. But it just seems like the Brewers are taking a lot of first pitches and just letting a 95-mile-an-hour fastball go right down the middle of the plate for a strike.
I feel like Mccutchen personally is a guy that, he's a good first pitch swinger, I feel like, because he gets a lot of hard contact. He had a really shitty out today. I believe it was the first or second pitch, but he absolutely murdered it, and it was right at somebody, so that sucked. But I'm going to ask you, with how, you're talking about moving the lineup around with Craig Counsell, who's now the winningest manager in Brewers history, so let's not question him too much, people. Where do we put Colton Wong? Where does he fit in this lineup now that I don't want to move Yelich out of the first spot because he's doing it? Where does Colton Wong fit in? Is he your 6-hole guy? Because that's probably
I would put him either 6 or 7. And what I would do is wherever you put Colton Wong, you put Tyrone Taylor right behind him.
Yep, because he can go. That's what I would.
And the thing is
Tyrone Taylor right behind him.
Right. And the thing with Tyrone Taylor is if he hits a ground ball, like Tyrone Taylor's actually got some pretty decent wheels. So Tyrone Taylor is a guy that you can use that, if he grounds a ball with a guy on base, he's not a guaranteed double play like a guy like Rowdy Tellez, for example.
Or Narvaez.
Omar Narvaez too.
The Brewers have, if they were to make a deal, and there's a couple options. Man, when I first saw that we were facing a left-handed starter, I just want to start out with that. I was like, oh, shit. It's an early game, and we're facing a starter. This could be bad. We're probably going to split in Tampa. And then, wow, it's 95. I'm like, holy camole. But he started getting a little bit unraveled in that second inning. Outside of that, we're going to have a guy that just can hit average. I just want a guy that can hit for average and preferably a guy that we could slide right in at the 2-hole, move everybody down a little bit. You can have a Willie Adames bat 3 because I feel good with Willie at the 3. Have Tellez. Where does Renfroe fit in that? The Brewers have a lot of flexibility, I feel like, with this lineup.
So you didn't even mention Urias in there?
Yeah, there's so much possibility. We got so much power. Just got to get that average up. I'm going to keep harping on that. Get that average up. We want to trade for a guy that's a high average guy, high quality at bat guy, not just a guy that just takes pitches, We don't need that. We just need a guy that can hit.
We already have that.
Yeah. If you have Yelich, who's hitting over 300, and, you mentioned all the stats, he's based at a high. If you have Yelich and you have another guy that can get on base, of it's tough to go through that shit, and then you start out with Wong and Tyrone Taylor, who's dangerous. There's a lot of shit that you have to go through as a pitcher to go through this Brewers lineup. That's pretty tough, 1 through 9, I think.
All right, I'm gonna give you one parting stat.
Okay, buddy.
Willie Adames, as a Brewer, has played 71 games at American Family Field. Mm-hmm. Willie Adames, as a Tampa Bay Ray, played 171 games at Tropicana Field.
Mm-hmm.
Willie Adames has a higher on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS at American Family Field in the 71 games versus the 171 he's played at Tropicana. In 171 games, Willie Adames hit 16 home runs at Tropicana Field. In 71 games at American Family Field, he has 18 home runs.
Wow.
He has 2 more home runs at American Family Field in 100 fewer games.
Wow. That's very nice. Impressive. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
A good stat, man. It's a good stat. All right, man. Let's I say we call this one. I say the Brewers keep winning. And I say that we get ready for Friday night and we get to rock some people's socks, baby.
Yeah. Also in between there, the Brewers do play tomorrow. NBA free agency starts tomorrow night, so that is another thing to keep an eye on. See if the Bucks can bring back Bobby Portis right away. And then, like Jake said, Friday night we are doing our first Packers only show. We get a lot of stuff we're talking about on Friday night. We're talking about the players that we're excited for. We did have that in one of the Wisco Confidential articles, so if you want to check that out, you can go to the Wisco Confidential blog page. You can find it on the Wisco Ball site, actually, where you can also actually find shirts for the Wisco Fanatics show. If you want to support us, would be awesome. But we're going to be talking about storylines. We're going to be talking about stuff that the fans are talking about, and we're going to be talking about things to watch on the football field outside of a box score. So that's going to be some really good discussion, I think, there. Given that there's going to be 4 of us. So that's 8 things you could potentially be looking at outside of a box score that can help you understand performance in football a little more. So really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be some really good discussion on Friday.
Yes, I agree. I'm really looking forward to Friday. I stayed up really late last night. This is actually my second can of Kickstart. I drank one last night. I was really, really trying to hammer out my notes for Friday night because I really, really want Friday night to be a great episode. And also, Simon and Bryant put a lot of pressure on me as a podcaster because those guys are super smart. Even though they like to clown around and act like some fools, those guys know their shit straight up. That's all I'm going to say. So they put a lot of pressure on me to try to be better, and they say iron sharpens iron. So I absolutely am taking this challenge head on, and I welcome it. Tyler has already been doing that for me for a couple of years now, really challenging me. He challenged me this last week after last week's episode, and he posed a question to me, and it really made me think. So that's why I had to come with some stats, come with some little deeper analysis this week. So I'm very excited for Friday, dude. I really am, honestly. I'm ready for Packers football.
I think Friday is going to be really good.
Dude, I have a bread guy who I talk to every week. He works for Sara Lee Bread. Dude, I see him at Berlin Walmart in the mornings. All we do is talk Packers football. And I'm like, dude, we can't talk about anything anymore because we're talking about the same shit. You know, we're talking about how excited we are for Rashawn Gary to have 20 sacks. You know? I mean, there's a lot of shit we're going to go through. He sends to the podcast on Thursday. So tomorrow when you see this, hi, buddy. But, yeah, really excited. Hopefully we kick some ass tomorrow, man, and hopefully we can gain some followers that way. Taylor, thanks for sticking around as always, man. Seriously.
All right. Well, I will see you Friday night then. That'll be an 8:00 Friday night show. All Packers. It's going to be a good show. Check us out on Friday.
Yep. G-Force.
All right.
All right, buddy.
I will see you then.